What's up, people? I'm back again to give you another main event breakdown. This time, we're going to be speaking about UFC 287 main event, which is Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira 4. They've already fought 3 times before, 2 times in kickboxing, 1 time in MMA, and they're going to be facing off for the 4th time in their careers, this time in MMA again. Alex Pereira has won all 3 of those bouts, so Israel Adesanya is going to try and get his revenge. And Alex Pereira is looking to go 4-0 over the former UFC middleweight champion. If you don't know me, my name is James Blissett. I'm a professional gambler and founder of Lucrative MMA, which is my handicapping service where I help people make money from betting on MMA. If you've been following me along this year or last 4 years, we've been absolutely smashing it. We've been going on a crazy run this year. We're just actually coming off a great weekend. This week, we ran about 4 units. We smashed the PFL, won about 7 units on there, won about 1 unit on Bellator, and overall a couple of losses on CFFC and Rising. We cashed about 4 units on the year, moving us to over 50 units of the year, and it's only the 2nd day in April. So an absolutely massive year so far. If you want to make money with me, if you want to make big money betting on MMA, then you can join my syndicate. I have a team of guys who break down the fights every single weekend, and I put out all of our bets online, and we give you guys the best value and the best way to make money on MMA. So, Lucrative MMA Betting for that. The links are all in my bio. You know how it is. But today, I'm back with some free content, as I always do. If you've been following me lately, you've probably seen me put out a lot of free content on my MMA channel, on my YouTube channel. If you've been following, I appreciate it. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, because the more comments I get, the more videos I'm going to make, because I know it's helping. So I've been putting a lot of information out there about MMA in general, about MMA betting and gambling in general. So if you like that content, let me know. But for today, we're going to stick straight to the fight analysis, you know, what everybody knows me for, really. What everybody has come to know me for is analyzing fights, betting on fights. And we're going to go back to old school today. We're going to break down the entire fight between Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya. I've done tape study today, just polished up on it. I've watched these guys fight many, many times. But today I re-watched all of their fights. So I watched their first kickboxing fight, second kickboxing fight, and their MMA fight, which was last year. So that's all fresh in my head right now, and I'm going to break it down. We're going to see if there's any value bets. At the end of the breakdown, I will go and look at the betting lines for this event. I will look at if there's any prop bets we can make money on, if there's any totals, overs, unders, what money line I'm picking, method of victory, all of that sort of stuff. But I'll start with their first fight, right? I'll give you kind of a background, a history on these 2 fighters. So they first fought in Glory Kickboxing. And if you know what Glory Kickboxing is, it's widely recognized as probably the best, at least the most well-known kickboxing organization today. They first met in that organization in 2016. It was a great fight. Alex Pereira ended up winning via decision. They then rematched the year after under the same banner, Glory Kickboxing. Alex Pereira won via 2nd round knockout. Then Israel Adesanya transitioned to MMA. So the second fight where he got knocked out by Alex Pereira was actually his last kickboxing fight in his entire career. He transitioned to MMA after that, and he had already been fighting in MMA, mind you. That was in 2017, as I said, but he had already been fighting in MMA. He was fighting in MMA from 2012, you know, so when they fight Alex Pereira this weekend, it's going to be over 10 years he's been fighting in MMA. I think a lot of people don't know Izzy's been fighting in MMA actually very, very long time. But anyway, he transitioned fully to MMA, stopped kickboxing after the Alex Pereira knockout defeat, and he went on to become one of the greatest middleweight champions in the UFC's history, in MMA history. You know, he defeated some great names. He's got very, very good fighters on his record. Robert Whittaker, Jared Cannonier, Marvin Vettori, Anderson Silva, Paulo Costa. You know, he's beaten a lot of very good fighters, and he's widely regarded as one of the greatest middleweight champions of all time. You know, he's in the top 3, probably the 2nd greatest middleweight champion of all time. But Alex Pereira had something to say about that. So Alex Pereira transitioned to MMA a little bit later. He came in and almost followed Israel Adesanya to the UFC, right? So he's been knocked out in 2017. Then I believe it was 2020, right? And you can not quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure, all off the top of my head as usual. But Alex Pereira gets signed to the UFC, and they're building Alex Pereira as the guy to maybe dethrone Izzy almost as soon as he comes in. You know, the UFC are putting out some promos. The UFC are letting everybody know that, okay, we've just signed the guy who knocked out Israel Adesanya, and they're in the same weight class, right? So straight from the jump, you're thinking, damn, like Pereira is hunting Izzy. You know, he's beat him in glory, knocked him out in glory, won a decision in glory, and now he's moving over to MMA to fight him. Anyway, Pereira goes on a good run, 3-4 wins. He gets a title shot, fast track to the title. Obviously, he shouldn't have got a title shot off the wins he had, but they gave him a title shot because they wanted to build this massive trilogy fight because they had backing story from the kickboxing fights, right? And they did. They put on the event and Israel was winning the fight, but Alex Pereira came back and got a 5th round knockout and he took his title. He went 3-0 against Izzy, knocked him out for a second time, and now he's the middleweight champion. And now they are rematching again for the 4th time for Izzy's former belt, Alex Pereira's current middleweight title. Now I'm going to go into the stylistics of the fight now, right? So I've built up exactly the background story to this fight. Now the stylistics, I'll keep it short and sweet. They've changed throughout the 3 fights. So if you watch the first fight, the kickboxing fight, Israel Adesanya is clearly the more clean kickboxer. And at that point in time, he had actually had a lot less time. Israel Adesanya had a lot more experience in kickboxing. This was like Israel's 70th or 80th fight, around there. But this was only Pereira's 20th fight. I couldn't get the exact number, but around that, right? So Izzy had a lot more experience, and you can see it. Alex Pereira is a lot more wild. He's not very technical, and he's swinging wild shots, but he's still very dangerous, right? And the fight is back and forth. They both hurt each other in the fight, but it's clear to see that Izzy is the better striker. He's the more patient striker. He's the more technical striker. And it's also clear to see that Alex has more power. It was a very close fight. You know, a lot of people call it a robbery. They awarded it to Alex, as mentioned, but I don't think it was a robbery. I think you could score it either way. You know, there's good arguments for Alex, good arguments for Izzy, but they ended up scoring it for Izzy. Now, the second fight was a little bit different. Even though it was 1 year later, you could see that Alex Pereira had refined his style a little bit. Either that, or he just knew how good Izzy was because he just went to a close decision with him the year prior in 2016. And he thought, okay, I'm going to fight a little bit more technical in this bout. You know, one of the two. I suspect it's a mixture of both because Alex Pereira is known for knocking out his opponents, and he couldn't knock out Izzy in that first fight, right? So maybe adjusted his style a little bit. But he came out very aggressive in that fight, right? It's not to say he didn't come out aggressive. In the second kickboxing fight, Alex Pereira comes out, puts his foot on the gas, presses up Izzy against the ropes, because obviously in kickboxing, we're in a ring. We're not in a cage like the UFC, like the MMA. And he's throwing heavy shots as he always does. But he's being a little bit more patient. He's being a little bit more technical. We can see that his strikes are a little bit more refined. Izzy's still the better striker, though. You can see Izzy's timing him, landing some good screw shot uppercuts. Izzy throws a few spinning back kicks. Izzy seems a step ahead in terms of technique and finding openings. But Potan, Alex Pereira, is just so powerful, and his pace and pressure is so high that he's able to get through Izzy's guard a number of times. He's able to hurt Izzy a few times. But Izzy's got a great chin. You know, I know Izzy's been knocked out twice by this guy, but the guy has an unbelievable chin. Anyway, it comes to the second round. I believe it's in the second round. It's a very close fight, right? As any time they fight is very close. Izzy hurts Alex Pereira badly. And he puts him on skates. You know, he's hurt. He gets a 10 count from the referee, right? If that was in MMA, maybe Izzy stops him. He wobbles him, hits him with an uppercut, hits him with a knee in the clinch, and then Alex backs onto the ropes, and Izzy comes with 2 straights. Very good straights. 1 straight. Alex is kind of out of it, hits him with another straight. And the referee jumps in and gives him a 10 count. You see, and in kickboxing rules, if you are hurt, if you are knocked down, they count to 10. It's like boxing. Whereas in MMA, you don't get no count. If you get hurt, you have to recover yourself. If you don't recover yourself, you get knocked out, you get finished. So there is an argument to say that Israel Adesanya would have finished him if it was in MMA rules. Now, we don't know that, right? We can't be sure. A lot of Izzy fans will claim that. A lot of Pereira fans will claim the opposite. At the end of the day, the fact of the matter is we don't know what would have happened. I tend to think that Alex would have got his wits about him. He didn't look that damaged to me. I do think he potentially could have shelled up, clinched Izzy and recovered. But it remains to be seen. We don't know. Izzy hurt him badly. That's the point. Anyway, he got, 10 seconds to recover. He comes back into the fight, ends up landing his signature left hook and knocks Izzy unconscious, celebrates over Izzy, and that's it. That's 2-0 to Alex Pereira. He knocks out Israel Adesanya. The shot that he knocked him out with is insane, man. A left hook. I honestly can't think of someone off the top of my head that has one punch that is just so much powerful than all of his others. He has one weapon that is just... It's indescribable, how powerful his left hook is. Just go and watch his fights, man. Alex Pereira's left hook is so good, he spams it. He legit spams it all the time just because he knows how powerful it is. Anytime he fights, he's just spamming the left hook, man. When he gets you up against the cage, he's not even unloading on like loads of combos. He's just left hook, left hook, left hook. Obviously, he's one of the best strikers in the world. He obviously throws a lot of combos, but his left hook is astounding. The way it knocked out Izzy in that second fight was brutal. Now let's fast forward to the third fight, right? So I've explained the first two fights, and it tells us a lot about how this fight's going to go. Now the third fight is a big, big difference because obviously Israel Adesanya has a lot more experience in MMA. Obviously MMA rules are completely different. The clinch game's different. Distance is even different. The way you defend yourself is different because you don't have the big gloves on, you have the small gloves. And there's grappling involved, there's wrestling involved. And it's 25 minutes. It's 5-minute rounds for 5 rounds, unlike kickboxing. They never go for 25 minutes in kickboxing. So there's lots of differences in this fight. And they all favor Israel Adesanya only simply because he's been in the rule set for much longer. He's been doing MMA for much longer. He's been a champion for much longer. He has much more experience in 5-round fights and in the UFC and in MMA in general, right? So the fight starts off fairly close, back and forth like every single one of their fights. But, straight off the bat, and I watched these fights back to back to back. So straight off the back, first thing that hit me was, Jesus Christ, Alex Pereira is huge. Now you got to think this was 5 years after their second bout where Alex Pereira knocked him out. So they had a lot of time to put on weight, put on muscle. But Alex Pereira looks a weight class above Israel Adesanya in the MMA fight. Now, if you go back and watch their first two kickboxing fights, they look same weight class. They don't look like they're different weight classes. In the MMA fight, they look like they're different weight classes. Alex Pereira looks absolutely huge. I don't understand how the guy makes middleweight. I've seen him next to light heavyweights and heavyweights. Sometimes he's bigger than those. It's absolutely insane the way he makes the weight, but he's definitely grown into his frame, and his frame has definitely grown over the 5 years between their second and third fights, right? So that's the first thing off the bat. Everything else is quite similar. Izzy seems a bit more technical, a bit more sharp. It seems he's a little bit more prone to finding openings on the feet, but Alex Pereira has the power. Alex Pereira has the pace, the ring control, and the pressure, like he always does. He pushes Izzy back in the first round, landing some good shots. They're both landing leg kicks. Alex is actually checking quite a few leg kicks, which Izzy isn't as used to. When he's fighting these MMA guys like Jared Cannonier and Marvin Vettori, they don't really check leg kicks that well, but Alex Pereira checks leg kicks quite well, right? And I think that throws Izzy off a little bit just because you see a few times where he's trying to get free leg kicks and he can't because Pereira's catching him. Israel's switching stances as he usually does. At the very end of the first round, Izzy catches him with a big shot. And he follows it up with a left hook. So it's a big right straight and he follows it up with a left hook right on the bell. And Alex Pereira wobbles badly. He looks badly hurt. But the end of the round buzzer blows. It goes. So again, just like their last fight, just like when Izzy had him hurt the first time, he has him hurt again, but he can't finish him because the ref jumps in. This time, not because it's kickboxing rules and they get a 10-second count, but this time because MMA is only 5 minutes and he hurt him at 4 minutes and 59 seconds. So again, Izzy had potentially, had the win right there, but got pulled away from him. Now, the second round starts and Alex seems to have recovered completely. Alex has a good round. He's putting it on him. They're back and forth. It's very close. I'm edging Alex Pereira on the feet at this time just because it's very close on the feet, but Alex has the hardest shots landing, and also he has the ring control and the pace, and that goes a long way in the eyes of the judges. And if you can't separate them at all on strikes, damage, you have to separate them on ring control, right? And this is what Alex has. Izzy shoots for a takedown, goes for a single leg, I believe, can't get it. Alex shoots for a takedown later, does get it. Izzy ends up on his back, and Alex wins the round clearly because of the takedown, right? So it's quite interesting. You see two kickboxers and actually both shot on each other. The third round starts, and now the third round is a good round. Again, back and forth. Izzy manages to catch a body lock when they're in close range. Izzy takes him down, very good takedown, and gets on top. There's about 3 minutes left in the round. For the next 3 minutes, Israel is dominating him on the ground. So this is a completely new thing to Alex Pereira. Never been taken down and dominated like this before. And a completely new thing to Israel Adesanya. Never taken anyone down and dominated like them before. Like that before. He takes him down. First takedown he's ever got in his UFC career. And he's dominating, pounding away. Honestly, there was multiple opportunities for Israel to finish the fight there, or at least completely, I'm not going to say completely dominate because we don't know what would have happened, but what I'm trying to say is there was many opportunities for Israel to put both hooks in to flatten him out. If he was a better wrestler, if he was a better jiu-jitsu player, the fight would have been over. Completely would have been over because Alex didn't really know what to do, couldn't get back to his feet, but Izzy's a kickboxer as well, so he couldn't consolidate position. He couldn't put hooks in perfectly. He put one hook in, but he just wanted to ride him like a wrestle position rather than actually going full jiu-jitsu, taking the back. I think if he would have sold out trying to got the back, I think he could have got it, and I think he could have got a submission. But we'll never know, right? Because he never went for it. Maybe he just didn't feel comfortable doing it. Maybe if he did go to take the back, maybe he's not a good back taker. Maybe he would have got reversed. Alex would have turned into him. So we don't really know, right? But the matter of the fact is there was multiple chances for him to put hooks in, and he didn't do it. That's something we have to think about when we're going forward, when we're betting on Israel Adesanya, especially against a kickboxer in an MMA fight, right? One who he's lost to 3 times. Because there is a potential that Izzy's going to go for the takedowns and stuff here. You never know, right? He did it in his last fight, and he still got knocked out. So I'm not surprised if he does it again. The one thing we have to know about that third round is, even though Izzy didn't go for the back, didn't try and submit him or anything, he still dominated him. Didn't land that much damage, but still dominated him. Completely controlled him. The fourth round starts and Alex Pereira is visibly gassed, but Izzy is not, right? Alex has never gone 25 minutes before, but Izzy has, and you can see that. Izzy's, dancing, he's all good, he's leg kicking, he is his usual self. Alex is not, he's quite tired. But it's a low-pace affair, right? Because Izzy's quite tired as well. He's just not as tired as Alex Pereira. Anyway, the last minute of the round comes. And Alex has took 4 minutes of rest in the fourth round. And now he starts to get his energy back. He starts to land some clean shots on Izzy. He starts to push Izzy back against the cage. Landing big shots. Lands a big left hook, right? Big left hook. And that was right on the buzzer. We see Izzy stumble. Izzy may have been wobbled there. I can't really tell. I went back and I replayed the punch about 10 times. I couldn't really tell. It seemed like Izzy got wobbled by that shot, right? Anyway, the round ends, is what it is. Goes into the 5th round. I lean Izzy wins that round, but it could be 2-2. I think it's 3-1 because Izzy had like 4 minutes of narrowly winning. Then Alex landed like 1 or 2 good shots at the end. Quite damaging, maybe, but I don't think it takes away the first 4 minutes of Izzy narrowly winning, right? Or like cleanly winning, but it was close. So I'm leaning 3-1 Izzy, and actually I believe 2 judges, or no, I think all 3 judges had it 3-1 Izzy going into the 5th round. The 5th round starts and Alex seems to have got his win back. He knows that he's got no more rounds to fight. He understands that he's probably down 3-1 on the scorecards, and he fights like he is. He puts the pace and he puts the pressure on Izzy. Izzy throws a leg kick, right? And Alex checks it. And like I said in the beginning of the breakdown, he checks it and Izzy doesn't like it. Izzy steps back and he actually falls over. And that was because of the check, right? He doesn't plant his feet back after the kick well, probably because he was off guard because he got checked, right? His body was not balanced because Alex checked the leg kick. Izzy done a backwards roll. He was fine, stood back up to his feet after he fell down. But Alex is pouring the pressure on now, landing heavy shots. But Izzy's ducking most of the shots, right? But he's throwing heavy shots, I should say. Alex lands a good straight, lands a good uppercut, and Izzy looks wobbled, right? But he's still okay. He's still in there, but he is getting caught a lot more cleaner now. Alex lands a left hook. It doesn't even look like a hard left hook. But like I told you, this guy's left hook is absolutely unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it in MMA. He lands the left hook. And that's basically the fight over, man. Izzy gets wobbled. Doesn't drop, but drops to like a knee. Puts his hand down. He's visibly wobbled. The left hook just takes something out of him. As he lands the left hook, it doesn't drop him, but it opens up the other shots. You can see his face is there. His eyes are not rolling back as he's taking shots. As soon as he lands the left hook, go and watch the combo. As soon as he lands the left hook, his eyes wobble. Like his eyes look like they're not there. And that's the sign of a fighter who's been badly rocked, right? When their eyes are like not there. As soon as the left hook lands, his eyes are not there. Then Alex lands uppercut straight. It looks like the ref's gonna jump in. Lands another combo. It's like 5-6 punch combo now. Looks like only a matter of time before Alex is going to knock him out. Referee jumps in. Now, on first view, it looks like it's kind of an early stoppage. But when you go back and watch the fight stoppage in slow motion, you understand that it's not an early stoppage. He got hit multiple times clean, and it was only a matter of time before he was going to get put out, in my opinion. Izzy instantly protested, but I do think it was a good stoppage. Look, maybe he could have let it go because there is a world in which Izzy clinches and, he's okay. But it seemed like the writing was on the wall and he was about to get knocked out. So that's it. That was the fight. Alex had gone 3-0, knocked him out for a third time, basically with a left hook for a second time. And he's his boogeyman now. He can't be beaten by Izzy. Even when he almost gets knocked out in kickboxing, he comes back and he knocks him out. Even when he almost gets knocked out in MMA, he comes back and goes on to finish Izzy in the 5th round. Even when he's 3-1 down in rounds, Izzy only has to survive this final round. He doesn't even have to win. Izzy's only got 3 minutes left, and now he's defeated Alex Pereira for the first time. He can't do it. Alex knocks him out. Alex is like Izzy's boogeyman at this point. It's crazy. So that's it. That's all the 3 fights broken down, right? I think, and I hope you enjoyed my commentary of the round-to-round commentary. I've literally just watched it, so it's fresh in my mind. And as you know, I like to go in-depth on these breakdowns. These are main event breakdowns. These are not full-card breakdowns. So I like to take my time, sit back, and really go in-depth, right? And I think when you look at this fight coming up on the weekend, when we look at the technicalities behind both fights, or look at the technicality behind this fight and behind the last 3 fights and how it plays out in this fight, we can see that Izzy is going to be the better technical striker. Izzy is going to be able to land more cleanly, more regularly. Izzy is going to be landing more volume. He actually got outlanded in that last fight, but he was outlanding Pereira until the last round. Pereira hurt him and just threw like 20 strikes unanswered. So, of course, he ended up losing and getting outpointed while he lost. But I think Israel Adesanya is going to be the one landing more volume. I think Israel Adesanya is going to be the one a little step ahead in the technical striking. But Alex Pereira is going to be walking forward. He's going to be landing the heavier shots, the harder shots. He's going to have the ring control. I think that if it's a striking battle, I do think Alex Pereira is going to win because I just think Alex Pereira has a massive margin of error compared to Izzy. Izzy doesn't have a big margin of error because what I mean by that is if Izzy makes 1 or 2 mistakes, I think Pereira can knock him out. Pereira has a much harder strike. The left hook is like the get out of jail free card. We've seen it now in 2 of their fights. He was losing the fight where he knocked him out in kickboxing. And he was most certainly losing the fight where he knocked him out in MMA. But that left hook is the get out of jail free card. So he's always going to be live to land that. He knocked him out in the 5th round. That means he carries his power the entire fight. Izzy doesn't have a margin for error in this fight, right? So for that reason, you have to favor Alex Pereira in a striking battle for 25 minutes. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Just because we favor Alex Pereira because he has a higher margin of error, we don't say that he's outright going to win it. I mean, in my opinion, we favor him 55 to 45. I mean, it's so close because Izzy's going to be landing more. Izzy can knock him out as well. We saw Izzy's hurt him twice. Actually, Izzy has hurt Alex Pereira the same amount of times that Alex Pereira has hurt Izzy. But we can see that Alex Pereira he has the most finishing upside here. But I still think Izzy can knock him out. I still think Izzy can hurt him. And I do think Izzy's going to be out-volleying him. And I do think Izzy's a little bit better at finding shots. So for that reason, I'm going to give it 55 to 45, Alex on the feet, right? But then we go to the grappling. Honestly, the grappling, I give it a solid 75 to 25 Izzy. Because we saw Izzy dominate from top position. Alex did get a takedown in that fight, but I feel like Izzy would have definitely worked his way back to his feet. But the round ended, so we don't know. But, he's worked his way back to the feet against everyone who's took him down. Robert Whittaker, Marvin Vettori. So I'm pretty sure he's going to work his way back to his feet if Alex takes him down. And on the other hand, Alex didn't work his way back to the feet when Izzy took him down. And also, on that same other hand, Alex completely gassed out when he got taken down by Izzy, whereas Izzy was completely fine when he took him down, right? So we got 55-45 on the feet for Alex Pereira, maybe 60-40, I don't know, but I'm going to say 55-45. Depends how much you rate the knockout, right? Knockout ability. But then we've got 75-25 to Adesanya in the grappling. So how does that mix up? Well, if you mix that together, then you're going to go like 60-40 Adesanya, around that, right? Roughly. But not necessarily, because then you got to add in, well, what's the percentage that they actually go to the ground, right? Yeah, Izzy might shoot takedowns. That might be 80%, but is he going to get takedowns? That takedown he got was kind of low percentage in my opinion. When he actually shot a tradition, that was like a body lock that Alex kind of ran into because he was just trying to get in close range. I think more times, if Izzy shoots a normal takedown, he's not going to get him down because Alex has good takedown defense, traditional takedown defense. Single leg, double leg, sprawl, that sort of type of stuff. Israel Adesanya doesn't have good takedowns at the best of times. So I think he's going to need to be smart to get takedowns here. He's going to need to use trips. He's going to need to do it when Alex is off guard in the 3rd or 4th round after they've been striking for the whole time. Maybe body lock, stuff like that, right? Catch a kick or, this type of takedowns rather than single or double. I don't know if Izzy's going to come in with that game plan though. When I look at this fight, I have to say this is a 50-50 fight, man. I do think Izzy has some advantages, clear advantages in the grappling, potentially in the cardio, especially in the grappling cardio. In the experience, I know Potan's gone, 5 rounds, but he still doesn't have the experience that Izzy does. You can't buy that. And that potentially was, I know it didn't, but it potentially was going to win him that last fight, the experience, especially with the takedowns and, just enabling the MMA game in general, right? So I have to look at this fight and say it's around 50-50, man. So if you can get someone as a dog, it's a decent bet. I'm not going to be jumping in at the moment. Alex Pereira is currently an underdog. Let's look at the lines now, right? So Alex Pereira is currently a plus 115 underdog. Plus 120, plus 135 on one book, but I don't know if that's correct. I don't think it will be. It's not bad, but I'm not really one to play a plus 110 if I think a fight's 50-50. There's decent edge on that. There's a solid edge on that. But, this is the big but. If I think a fight's 50-50, then also maybe I just don't have a great read on it, right? So I think that's something that people don't understand. It's like, if I'm saying a fight's 50-50, sometimes that's an easy way of going, I just don't know what's going to happen, right? And so for that reason, maybe my 50-50 cap-in isn't correct. Maybe I just don't have a great read on it, so I'm saying it's 50-50. That's something that I tend to do and every gambler tends to do. If they don't have a great read on it, but they know it's going to be close, they're like, oh, that's a 50-50 fight. Minus 110 fight. Well, you think so, but maybe your read isn't that good, right? So for me, it's a 50-50 fight for the stylistics and for the things I mentioned. But also, I'm not that married to the 50-50, right? I don't have a massive opinion. So for that reason, where the money lines are at the moment, no value for me. I'm not really going to look at it. Now, we'll see how the week goes on. We'll see if my opinions change. We'll see if I look at some more tape. We'll see if I get any inside information. I'm over here in Auckland, so I do get information about city kickboxing in general. You know, I've got friends that go to the gym, and I used to go to the gym once upon a time, so I may get some inside information in general, and if I do, that may sway my decision. I also have a syndicate, so I have professional gamblers around the world that all have the same goal as me, which is we speak together, we make a decision on who we think is going to win the upcoming fight, we see if there's any value. You know, if all my guys love Pereira or Adesanya, maybe I'll be swayed for that reason. But as of now, I don't see too much value in the money lines. If I was going to bet, I would definitely play Alex Pereira as an underdog. I don't mind the under 4.5 rounds. The total is set at 4.5. It's minus 110 apiece. I don't mind the under 4.5 rounds. I think both guys can finish each other. These guys have fought 3 times already, and 2 of those fights have finished. And the first fight that didn't finish was an absolute war. Someone could have been finished. That pace was insane. Go back and watch that first fight. This might be their funnest fight of the lot. Probably was. The pace of that fight was insane. So, you know, the fights have finished twice. They fought 3 times. Could definitely finish again. I definitely lean under because I think Pereira, that left hook is just insane, as I said. Never seen nothing like it. And then on the Israel side, I don't think Pereira has the greatest chin. I don't know if he has the greatest chin. I've seen him wobbled multiple times. That's why I think maybe there's good recoverability. But I've seen him wobbled a few times, and I think Adesanya is definitely going to catch him on the chin here. So I don't mind the under, guys. I actually like the under a little bit. And that's it, man. That's a long-ass breakdown. Yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown. I went in depth. I am going to be doing a full card breakdown. I'm thinking of doing a full card breakdown, I should say. If you want to see a full card breakdown, let me know in the comments. If I get enough comments, I'll do it as usual, you know, because I know you guys want to see it. I'm sure most people will, but I'd like to see it in the comments. And I'll do a full card breakdown. And the full card breakdown, I'll just make it a short one. But I really wanted to go in depth on this fight. You know, I wanted to speak about it from a betting perspective, from a stylistic perspective, and from a narrative perspective. So it's such an interesting fight, man. I'm super excited for this one. I know they've already fought 3 times. Alex has won 3 times. So you wouldn't think it would be that exciting. But if you actually have context, add context to that and go back and watch the 3 fights, you understand why it's exciting. So I'm going to be looking forward to it. I've got 2 bets locked in already for this UFC 287 card. I'm going to be adding more bets tomorrow. I'm going to finish my full card tape study by tomorrow. In 24 hours, I would have finished my tape study and I would have locked in all of my bets within the next 36 hours. And I think, judging by some of the lines, I'm going to have a decent amount of bets on this card. So if you want to cash with me, if you want to join the money train that has been cashing basically every single week since 2023 started, we've been on an insane run. We're over 50 units in profit already. Then sign up to my betting service, my betting syndicate, lucrativemma.betting.com. You can do that on that website. All the links are in the bio, and we can cash together. Other than that, let me know if you want the full card breakdown. I'll be back with another video. Make sure you are watching my videos about MMA gambling, because that actually is going to serve you for years. Whereas this Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira breakdown, you might take a few joules, but it's probably only going to serve you for 5 days until they fight. Whereas all of my other content, we're going to serve you for 5 years, you know. So without further ado, I'm going to be gone now. Thank you for watching, everybody. Shout out to you. Let's make some money this weekend. Big UFC pay-per-view.